Russell, thanks for joining us this morning. Why are you breaking away? This is something that has been talked about and argued before, but why do you want to renew this?
Well, first of all, thanks for having us. It's great to be here. Reason is we really want to guide our own destiny, go our own way, and develop further, more economically, technologically. Basically, we're all the same DNA, we're all the same Australians, but we need more autonomy, we need independence, and we need to sort of ensure that our future is taken care of by ourselves. Reason being is that we're suffering economically in terms of our economic development. Largely we have a single pillar economy, a mining economy, and little else. Some agriculture, which does well, but we're stuck with a single pillar economy. 80% of that economy in mining is iron ore mining, and 98% of that goes to one customer. Reality is that one customer will develop cheaper other deposits in the world elsewhere.
But those items that you said, why wouldn't you be able to achieve that by being attached to the rest of Australia?
Well, typically when it comes to development and attracting new industry, new business to Australia, federal government incentivises those industries to go to the large voting population centres of the East Coast.
So if you say that financially you're not in such a great place at the moment by being attached to the rest of Australia, how are you going to pay for a defence force? How are you going to pay for embassies that would need to be set up overseas? Trade deals that need to be organised? How are you going to do all of that?
Well, let's start with the easy one. Is trade deals are already in place. There's plenty of trade deals that already happen between West Australia and other parts of the world. There's also state levels of trade missions and other intermediary groups throughout the world. When it comes to defence, that's probably the big one and the most often asked question. Reality is we have very little defence here anyway. We have a RAAF training squadron. We have a reserve group, a very small reserve group. We have SAS regiment, which is largely there for covert and overseas operations. And we have a submarine base where the submarines have to spend their time in South Australia being repaired. So there's very, very little here. And when you look at the Australian defence budget of $39 billion, our input to that, based on 10% of the population, 10% of the revenue, is about $3.9 billion. When we compare ourselves to New Zealand, population about twice the size of what we have here, they have a coastline of some 14,000 kilometres that they need to defend. We have a coastline of 12,000 kilometres that we need to defend and monitor. Their budget is $3.8 billion for their military per annum. We're already spending 3.9. They have a military of about 9,000 people, and it's a very, very good military. So we're already contributing enough to have an equivalent military to look after that coastline, defend that coastline.
Right, so would you be the Prime Minister, Russell?
Definitely not.
Who would be?
Depends what the people want to elect.
Well, who would be your suggestion? Who would you want to be leader of the new Western Australia?
We're a long way from this. We see this as being a program that will take 10 to 15 years to achieve. 1933, there was a secession referendum in WA, which was upheld by 2/3 of people in favour of it. It just never happened. The incoming Labor government, despite promising to carry it through, didn't. So it didn't take place then, but it's time again. This is the one shot. If we don't sort of take that grasp of our own future, our economic and developmental future now, it's never going to happen. It's going to be too late. And Australia needs to look at it as well. Like, if we do end up failing with not failing with our mining, but the mining dries up, the mining is reduced. Do we really want to become the welfare state of Australia?
Right. You got to admit the chances of this are pretty unlikely.
If you don't try, it won't happen.
How about a big hug, Russell, from someone over in the east? Is that what you need? If so, are you not feeling the love?
You have to realise this isn't about us not liking people on the East Coast. This is not what it's about. It's not about that at all. It's about Western Australia taking control of its own destiny. Developing new technological centres, expanding our industry, going beyond mining. 20, 30 years ago, there's a lot more in West Australia than just mining. Today, there's just mining. It cuts off the future for our youth.
Well, I tell you what, I'm sending My love to the good people of Western Australia today. Russell, Sewell, we're out of time, but appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.